Hi, my name is Lily. Welcome to another Tokobot Plus tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be covering all of the boss fights in the any % route. This includes Scorpio, Morphbot, Samurai Hover, Chokorok, Hunter, Dongle, Sonic, Tankaloo, Torturer, Tornador, Griffin, Battlebee, and Zero. Worth noting that in the any % DTA route, it's possible to skip Scorpio, Morphbot, and Dongle, and theoretically, it's also possible to skip Samurai Hover and Griffin, though this is not currently done. All of that being said, let's get on with the tutorial. Alright, so we're over here with Scorpio, and unfortunately I don't have a lot of advice to give here, since this is before you unlock the overdrives. There's not a lot more to this fight than just, you know, hitting the weak spot when it's available. Unfortunately, even while he's invincible, his hitbox is always active, so you can't even hit him up from beneath like some other bosses that we'll cover later. So with that, that's really all there is to it with Scorpio, and I'll see you with Morphbot. So for Morphbot, we're going to have a very simple boss fight. At the start, you're going to want to use the triangle formation, and when you're using the Toko spin attack, you want to jump into the top segments, and what this does is it allows you to ignore the invincibility frames that Morphbot would normally get when you hit them. During this second phase, there's not a lot you can do to speed this up, but one advice I can give you is just to get them caught on any sort of geometry in the level, like you can see here, and after 3 charges at Bolt, the Morphbot will get tired and you can hit them then. If you have an overdrive, if you hit them with a Toko attack and then use the overdrive, that will instantly kill the Morphbot. At least with Samurai Hover Phase 1. I don't know about the other ones because I haven't tested it, but in any % you're only ever going to unlock Samurai Hover, so that's fine. And yeah, that's really all there is to Morphbot. It's a very simple boss fight, so now we just wait out the rest of the fight, I guess. With that being said, we'll move on to the next boss right about now. So the next boss we have here is actually Samurai Hover, which means it's incidentally also the last boss that we are not going to have an overdrive for, which is nice. There are a few things that can significantly speed this boss up. So you want to attack from the front, and that will make him put his guard up, and then you can hit him from behind. If you try to then position your Tokobots underneath him, you can hit him multiple times without him having the chance to block, like I'm going to do here at the end. And I'm going to put a brief clip up of me doing this in an actual run, because while it is difficult to do, so I don't have any free footage of it here, I have done it before, so I'll show that now. Up next is Chokorok, by all means a fairly simple boss fight. Here we're going to just ignore the button entirely and just be careful, jump over the lasers and hit Chokorok that way. You always want to use your overdrive if you have it, because this is one of those bosses where the overdrive will not ignore invincibility frames. This works for all enemies and most bosses, but not this one. So you basically just want to hit it, dodge the lasers, and use the overdrive. If you do get hit, like me, then you're going to see this cutscene, but it is possible to beat the boss without ever seeing this cutscene. So if you do that, you are legally skilled. And that's really all there is to this fight. Just be wise. It does take practice to get used to the lasers' movements, but with any luck, you'll be beating them really quickly. So next up we have Hunter, and Hunter's actually a super easy boss fight to beat, but very difficult to do quickly. There's a lot of precision required in this boss fight. So here I'm going to walk to lure him into doing that attack, and then I can just hit him from the side. And when he starts to fly away, I'm going to be able to hit him with an overdrive from behind. Now you can hit him with a Toko attack from behind, and that'll be a lot faster when you don't have overdrive yet. But this is very precise, and I wasn't able to do it in this recording. I just see I'll attempt it, but it's very precise. So that's one of the ways in which, if you're very good at the game, you can get that, and that'll speed it up. But otherwise, it's sort of just going through the motions. It's a pretty slow boss fight. It's always worth trying to hit him though, because there's no way you can really lose from that interaction, you know? You might miss it, but you're not going to lose time if you do. And here we go. Hit him with the overdrive, and that ends the boss fight. Very simple one right there. Next up we have Dongle, and this is going to be a very long clip, mostly because I haven't really figured Dongle out yet. Dongle seems to take, at different times, random amounts of damage, and yeah, I'm not really sure what the fastest way to beat Dongle is. Thankfully, Dongle is one of the bosses that we can skip in the any percent DTA route, but yeah, no, a really tricky boss to do quickly. My short advice list is to basically be prepared to Toko spin him before his invincibility runs out, and that can often ensure that you attack him as early as possible, and always overdrive without attacking first, because Dongle's another one of those boss fights where overdrives does not ignore invincibility frames, so you want to be aware of that. And here's an example of just one of these really long parts where if I go left or right, he's gonna turn to face me, and if I stand still, I've just got to wait for him to raise his hand. It's really random behavior, and you can really go with a really slow Dongle boss fight if you get that sort of luck. And I really haven't figured out a solution for that yet, so maybe if any of you are viewing, maybe you'll be the one to crack the code. But yeah, we're sort of just waiting out the time at this point, because there really is nothing more to this fight than meets the eye. It's just a very slow one, so I'm very thankful we can skip it. With that being said, we are closing up on this boss fight very soon here, so I will see you in the Sonic fight right after this. So Sonic is actually a boss fight that I am quite fond of. It is difficult, it is quite tricky, and there's no way to speed it up using overdrives because Sonic will simply not be damaged by overdrives. The benefit though is that it only takes 4 hits to kill him. That being said, to make Sonic vulnerable, you need to hit his own landmines back at him, and this can be quite tricky. It takes a lot of practice to get this consistently, but trust me, once you do, Sonic is nothing. So that's really the best advice I have to you, is practice. That being said, there are a few tips I can give you. When Sonic sends out a shockwave, don't try to multitask. When you see that a shockwave is about to be sent out, prioritize dodging it, because if you get hit, you might end up missing one of the mines, and missing a mine is a bad thing, because that means you're going to miss an opportunity to hit Sonic, basically. Also, use your overdrive to clean out the enemies that are in your path, because you don't want to have to deal with those. If you know that a shockwave is coming, but there's also a mine on the field, if you think you can get the mine, go for it, but be wise, you know? It's better to dodge and miss the mine than it is to get hit and potentially miss 2 mines. With that being said, there is not a lot more to Sonic, and we're wrapping up really quickly here because it's not that slow a fight. So I'll see you in the next fight. Alright, now with Tankaloo, this one actually is quite a tricky boss fight, but I'll try and give you the best advice I can. First of all, just pay attention. It's really easy to not pay attention and accidentally miss one of her cycles, but you really want to pay attention to that, because if you do miss her cycle, then you're going to have to wait twice as long just to get a single hit. Tankaloo stops once every other sort of dash, but you can hit her in between. It's just very difficult to time, so you'll see me attempting that here, but I don't know if I'm going to get it. But yeah, every time she stops, hit her, and when you have overdrive, wait for her invincibility to run out, because even though overdrives do ignore her invincibility, she will take more damage if you let her invincibility run out first. You can also hit her from behind, but I find that this isn't nearly as practical as just going for the side. Sometimes she'll do sort of this boss phase where she goes really quickly. That just means you've taken a long time on the boss. It's not relevant to how much damage you've taken. It just means she's completed a certain number of cycles. So if you can kill her before that happens, see, there you go, I managed to time that and then hit her with the overdrive, and that ends the fight, and I never saw that second phase. So if you can do that, that is preferable, and I'll see you in the next fight. Up next is Torturer. Not a lot of advice for this one. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but for Torturer it's very much true. You kind of just want to lure him towards the wall, hit him where possible, and this is one where you have my full permission to release your overdrive immediately after. He will take the full amount of damage and ignore the invincibility, and you can get this done in only 3 or 4 cycles. Ignore that fire. There's no way to hit him during that. I've tried. You just kind of need to dodge him until he comes rearing at you, hits the wall. Sometimes he'll hit the wall and he won't be stunned for that long. And I don't know if this is random or if it's dependent on some other factor, but that can significantly slow it because it means you've missed a cycle. When Bart is not stunned, when Torture is not stunned, I believe you can still hit them from behind, but it is very difficult because he always turns to face you, so I've never even attempted that in an actual, and there you go. Turned away a lot faster than normally does, so I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if there's a way to avoid that, but that's the fight. Yeah, not really a lot to it, done in 3 or 4 cycles, super duper easy. See you in the next one. Alright, so here we have Tornado. Tornado is actually a really fun one, and I think I have some helpful advice here. So during this first phase, you want to obviously lure him into his own bombs, but I also want to advise against taking him too close to the wall. If you take him too close to the wall, then he might accidentally blow up the bomb while he's still invincible, because he takes a wide sort of turn, and if the bomb's too close to the wall, that can be detrimental. So kind of try to go diagonally or up and down, but avoid going left and right, because then he'll hit the wall. During these second phases, you want to immediately go the opposite direction he's going, otherwise he'll just turn around and you'll miss that chance to hit him, and then just go across to the other side. If you fall, you'll land in a spike pit, so try not to do that. And here you want to hit him with a normal Toko attack, yeah, then do an overdrive, and then you can hit him with a Toko attack again. Not here, because the phase changed. Anytime the phase changes, he cannot be hit from above. But if the phase doesn't change, because he hasn't taken enough damage, this usually happens the second time you do that part, then you can hit him a second time with a Toko attack after the overdrive. And you'll see that later on in this clip. So you see here, I'm taking him diagonally, up and down, never too close to the walls. I know that there are invisible walls, so it can be a bit sort of misleading how close the walls are. That's really something you've got to get used to. So I turn away from him, but he's going to turn towards me, and that's okay, because that gives me a great opportunity to whack him on the head. Not this time, because I got hit, but that's okay. We'll just cross over and pat him on the head there. So you see, I had to wait to get my Tokobots back, but that was fine because it gave him ample time to cross. And here we're going to pat him on the head. Oh my, missing again. Pat him on the head, do an overdrive, and I think that'll kill him. Oh no, a little bit left, but there you go. One last hit. And that is fuel. Alright, up against Griffin, this really is a difficult fight. You're not really at any risk of dying here. None of the attacks are particularly difficult to dodge, but doing this boss fight quickly, I cannot overstate enough. This boss is a difficult one to do quickly. The hurtbox on the back of Griffin is incredibly small, so hitting him with your Toko attack, though it is the best strategy, can be very difficult. So you see I got it there, but don't take that for granted. It's very precise. On the way back, he's now vulnerable, so you can use your overdrive. I believe you can still hit him while he's invincible, but it will do less damage, so in general, you want to avoid doing that. The best way to deal with his bubble attack is to use the triangle formation and just Toko spin through them. Don't go too quickly though, because sometimes it will break your Toko spin and you might get hit. Again, you'll only take, I think, 1.5 hearts, so it's not that bad, but you still want to avoid getting damage. But if you do it right, if you hit him with the Toko attacks and you get the overdrive opportunities, this can be a pretty quick boss fight. Little cutscene in the middle, no way to avoid that as far as I'm aware. But yeah, overall this isn't such a bad boss fight, but it can be very tricky to do quickly. So this is one you really want to practice, unless of course we implement a way to skip him, which is known about, but not currently used. And here we go, the last hit, or last two. No, there we go, last hit, and a samurai hover for style. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, here we are with Battle B and Zero. This is kind of a 2-in-1 meal deal boss fight, if you like. Don't have a lot of advice for Battle B other than be very careful. Battle B's movements are erratic, they're random, they're hard to predict and hard to read. My best advice, my most solid advice for these two fights is to bring a revive potion, because while it definitely is possible to beat these without taking too much damage, it's right at the end of the run. Personally, I'm not confident in my skill, to be completely honest, because these are difficult fights. Battle B more than Zero. Zero's a pretty okay fight, still pretty random, but Battle B is really the hard one because he's so fast, but you just want to kind of be careful and punish whenever he whiffs, and that's really the foundation beyond this. But you'll see I'm taking hits left and right here, but that just shows the principle behind my most important strategy, which is bring a revive potion. There is food at the side, but you kind of want to save that for the Zero fight. And overdrives will ignore his invincibility completely, so feel free to use those whenever. Another thing is, whenever he sends out his rockets, you can use the circle formation to block those. The Tokobots will get hit, but Bolt will not, and that can be very useful. So in this first phase against Zero, what you're going to do is wait for him to charge his laser eyes, and then once he's started, you want to Toko jump into the tallest shield, and Bolt will get hit, but he won't take any damage and he will get invincibility frames, which makes this a really good way to not only aim the lasers at the shields, but to not get hit by the lasers because you're invincible. For this floating orb section. In this clip, I don't do the greatest job at it, but hitting them from the side can often be a lot faster. But hitting them head on is normally a lot easier and safer, because if you're hitting them from the side, in general you want to be more or less in front of Zero, which can cause you to get hit by his laser attack, or it can cause him to do his swiping attack forward. Also, every time you break an orb, you're going to get that little laser attack across the ground. It is possible to dodge, but very difficult. Certainly not consistent, and I think sometimes it's impossible to dodge. So again, just another reason why you should definitely bring a revive potion and be ready to get those snacks at the side. And so here I think I'm going to go to the other side to try and hit these orbs. It's really one of those boss fights where just staying alive is kind of the main game here. There's not a lot going on. There's no way to use overdrives to your advantage during this boss fight. So it's really just sort of keeping yourself alive while dealing as much damage to Zero as possible. After you've hit him twice, the roof's going to start falling down, and that can be quite dangerous because they can hit Bolt, and that's all well and good. They're pretty easy to dodge. They can also hit your Tokobot, so you kind of want to keep them close to you with circles so you can get them to dodge out the way. But while you're jointing, if one hits them, that can really mess up your sort of flow. So quite a difficult boss fight here, especially to do quickly, but I hope some of my advice is useful. There's just not a whole lot in general you can do to make this go any faster. But once you have beat Zero, that'll be the end of the game. So keep the reward in mind. You just got one orb left, and this can often be the most frustrating to get. But you want to keep on the right side for this last orb because it always dips down on the right. So even though you can hit it on the left, it's going to be a lot easier from the right. That's the boss fight and the video. See you!